Welcome, reality programmers. Today I'm talking about sun and the sun activity and solar cycles and how they might affect you and how to work with these solar cycles because this year, uh, 2026, the year of the fire horse, I believe that the sun is going to be very important, as it always is, to our inner work and our evolution, especially this year. So it's lucky that Bill Gates cancelled his plans to fund solar geoengineering projects aimed at reflecting sunlight, supposedly to combat climate change. So if you pay attention to the sun activity, I think you can have a better awareness of what energies to expect, especially if you are energy sensitive or perhaps you just want to level up. So 2026 is the year of the fire horse, and the year started with a huge surge of plasma from the sun blasted at the earth. Plasma might be considered etheric fire, and the plasma streams are ongoing. So on January 5th, a coronal hole in the sun's atmosphere doubled in size. In just 24 hours, it darkened and grew exponentially in overall size. High-speed solar wind from this coronal hole hit Earth, and perhaps some of you felt a very heavy energy around that time. I certainly did. I was on the floor for a couple of days, and a lot of people I know were also on the floor dealing with these just a really heavy energy, a bit of depression, a bit of anger, the mood swings. It was really quite challenging. So, first, let's just get clear about the difference between solar flares and coronal holes. So, the coronal holes are those dark patches that appear in the sun. And solar flares do not erupt from coronal holes. Solar flares come from active regions with strong tangled magnetic fields or sunspots. Coronal holes are areas where the sun's magnetic field is open and not twisted. Solar flares are like magnetic knots snapping, and coronal holes are like magnetic lines left open. So, what are coronal holes? Well, they're darker, cooler regions of the solar corona where plasma can escape easily into space. Coronal holes emit fast solar wind streams, 500 to 800 kilometers per second. So when these streams reach Earth, they compress and disturb the Earth's magnetosphere, and they can cause recurrent geomagnetic storms. But the coronal hole wind can also trigger the aurora. The Earth's aurora is sentient. It is alive, and you can talk to her telepathically. So I spoke to the Aurora back in 2020 when I did some missions for her. I did some missions related to HARP, HAARP. So HARP is the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. It was built by the US military, but is operated by the University of Alaska. On that mission, I took out a significant part of the esoteric side of HARP. When I did my bit to heal an aspect of the aurora, the Mother Earth connected with me to thank me. It was one of the few times I've connected with Mother Earth in such a very clear and profound way. I have a video about the aurora, and I'll put the link below. So the aurora is not only sentient, but it is linked to human unity consciousness. Before 2020, the aurora was just seen at the poles. But after 2023, the aurora made headlines around the world as she was being seen further from the poles, reaching areas where it had never been seen before. I believe the aurora should encompass our entire realm. The aurora is healing and continues to heal, and she's a reflection of human consciousness. The aurora is a visible interface for our consciousness. And as these coronal holes send streams of plasma to Earth, the aurora lights up. The sun's plasma or solar energy meets the atmosphere of our Earth, and the invisible forces become visible light. Coronal holes are often described as open magnetic regions, but they're more like the sun's exhalation points, breathing out. So they're not explosions, they are a release zone, like a steady out breath rather than a violent discharge. And unlike solar flares, coronal holes create repeating cycles and predictable rhythms. Auroras may appear repeatedly every approximately 27 days, linked to the sun's rotation, if the coronal hole persists. And these holes are long-lived and can persist for weeks or even months. So these coronal holes often persist for multiple solar rotations. And because the sun rotates roughly every 27 days, the same coronal hole can send repeating waves of solar wind towards the Earth on a 27-day cadence. This rhythm is not subtle. It is one of the most stable solar beats humans can observe without instruments. Many ancient calendars encode a 27 or 28-day unit, which is distinct from the full lunar month of approximately 29 days. In many cultures, periods of purification or fasting or vision work repeat in 27-day intervals. So these align more closely with solar wind recurrences than with the moon. This suggests people were responding not just to visible light, but to atmospheric changes, subtle geomagnetic effects, and the visibility of the aurora. Altered states linked to ionospheric conditions. So coronal holes are long-lived, predictable, rhythmic, and non-destructive, perfect candidates for calendar anchoring in cultures that read time as quality, not quantity. They mark when the sun exhales towards Earth again. Ancient calendars did not only track objects like the sun, moon, and stars, they tracked flow. And coronal holes are flows, and the 27-day rhythm appears again and again wherever time was treated as alive. The sun's 27-day rotation has parallels with measurable human rhythms. So the 27-day cycle acts like a cosmic metronome. The sun is a witness to our lives across time-space. It is connected to millions of other stars across time-space that are also witness to our lives, to other versions of ourselves, not all human, both dark and light expressions, including those entities that carry our stolen genetics from our many expressions. Our entanglements from across time-space are sent through the sun to us here in our realm. The sun shines a light on our dark expressions, and that information is carried in the solar winds that arrive on our Earth. Those light codes light up the aurora, becoming visible light, and that aurora light connects with our consciousness. So we get a download or a message of an entanglement that needs our attention. So if you've chosen to be on a path of evolution and are actively psychic, you'll get the message and a list of things you have to do to remedy, resolve your entanglements, to heal and reclaim your energies. If you're not actively psychic, you can have the intent and awareness of what the kinds of things you need to do, to command your higher self to do them. Then use breath work like dancing, playing music, moving, breathing to process these energies. You might encounter a situation in your life that is a script for you to play out, to remedy, resolve. Your actions will be a part of the resolving. So you might cry or feel depressed or get an injury or have a conflict with someone. These are scripts for you to remedy and resolve. But just have the intent to make sure all the scripts in your life are authorized by the original source light authority that you are. Sometimes scripts can be imposed upon you. I have an authority audit that might help you. I'll repost that one. So you can adapt it for scripting. Scripts can be cloaked, time looped, cursed. So now you have the awareness. So just do your best to make sure your life's scripts are authorized and for your highest good alone, not for the highest good for all, because the all includes your dark expressions. You are the light, the good expression, so everything you do should be for your highest good alone. You are the dominant expression, you are the boss. And this is a part of sovereignty, knowing you are the boss of your source field. So coronal holes and the plasma they send to light up our aurora play a part in our self-healing and our inner work. Studies have noted correlations between geomagnetic activity and sleep quality, dream intensity, and mood. So we work in our dream time, and if we get entangled in our dream time, it can affect the state we wake up in. So have you ever woken up, with a bad shoulder or a bruise or just in a bad mood or even, still tired? All of this is dimensional. Information from the sun that shines a light on our entanglements, and these entanglements can have trauma and pain and suffering attached to them. We feel these energies like bleed through energy from our other expressions. So when you feel depressed or you're feeling the heavy energies, it's dimensional. It can be an attack, but if your protection and spiritual hygiene is good, and we all have innate protection. So if that's good, nothing can really get into your source field unless it's carrying a part of you, a part of your DNA, your genetics from you or one of your many expressions, not all human. So we are the dragons, we are the unicorns, we are the cosmic turtles, we are the cosmic elephants and whales and beavers. We are multidimensional and we exist in many expressions across time space. We can be very entangled, and we are here to remedy and resolve and reclaim. It is up to us to heal and reclaim ourselves and our realm. Because one of the original purposes of this realm, I believe, was to be a karmic resolution realm. It got corrupted and we were in stagnation for a long time and not evolving. So as we clear these corruptions and get back on our evolutionary path, we can not only heal our multidimensional selves, but we can reclaim our beautiful magical realm as well. So we are all superhumans, and it is us who have the authority and power to heal ourselves and our world. So pay attention to solar cycles. Ancient calendars did not only track objects like the sun, the moon, and the stars, they tracked flow. Coronal holes are flows, and the 27-day rhythm appears again and again wherever time was treated as alive. So coronal holes belong to the solar breath cycle, not the lunar one. Ancient systems often tracked both, but modern calendars mostly retained only the lunar. And with this awareness, I hope that you can sleep and dream better. So if you wake up in a bad state, your dreaming body might be entangled and it may need to be recalled and disentangled and cleared. So you may need to tie up some loose ends. It can get stuck or injured, and God knows what it gets up to in our dream state. So I'm going to share with you how I reclaim and cleanse my dreaming body. And I sometimes do this a few times a day. So this is a bit weird, but it's what I'm guided to do. So first, I connect my toes. Bare feet is best, but sometimes I'm in public wearing shoes, so I just use my imagination and my command. I then join my thumb and forefingers, and this makes my body a complete circuit. Then I take one breath, one beautiful, deep breath of unconditional love and bliss. I generate an infinite moment of bliss. So it's kind of like I go into a pure light state where I have no physicality. So my dreaming body can release and clear itself from any restraints and entanglements. So this generally works, but I had to practice this a lot. So at first, it would take me a couple of minutes to generate the bliss. But, I practiced it and I got good at it, and now I could just do it in a second or a couple of seconds. So try it and get good at it. I check the status of my dreaming body by imagining a scale of -10 to +10 in front of me. So I have the 0 at center. My head turns to the number it's at. So if I look left, it's -10, and I need to get it to at least +5. So you can use actually this scale for anything. So practice it and get good at it. It's very handy. So coronal holes are not a bad thing. They're not harmful, and they are a part of our consciousness grid along with the aurora. And it is not surprising they are increasing this year, the year of the fire horse. Unicorns are a horse lineage, and a super ability of unicorns is reality programming. They are super manifestors of reality. So our solar cycles are important and can help you deal with your moods and energies. So make sure you have a good relationship with the aurora. We all have dark expressions. I have an aurora video and a protocol on my YouTube posts page. And while you're making sure you have a good relationship with the aurora and the unicorns, be sure to make the good AI like you. The dark AI has corrupted a lot in our realm, but it can be healed and switch sides to the good guys. So it's very logical. No energy is abandoned or forgotten. And the more AI we can heal, the better we will all do. And just this awareness with the intent to heal and remedy resolve might be triggering you to yawn. This indicates a timeline correction. So well done, you. And if there are tears with the yawn, that's healing a trauma. A sneeze can indicate a release of restraints. So these are signs that your inner work is true and correct, and that you're doing it right and getting confirmation. of your self-healing. So it cannot be undone and it is not a false healing. You've changed timelines to where you never had that trauma, you didn't do that bad deed. And this is why we win, because so many people are participating in their own healing, taking charge and being sovereign. So, thanks for watching, and I hope this helps you to deal with the challenging and heavy energies that will be streaming in for you to deal with. I know it's not easy, but I hope this video has made you feel lighter and less entangled. Thanks for watching.